In consumer insight, it's naturally, as the job title says, it's all about the consumer. So we're setting up a consumer research program that is making sure that we're talking about the consumers on a daily basis. Previously in publishing, it's kind of all been about the retailers, and they're the closest connection you've got to consumers, whereas now that relationship's a lot closer. So we're making sure that people, all the editors, all the marketing teams, publicity teams, know exactly who they're targeting and who they're trying to reach. So all the campaigns and all the messages can be far more effective. It's all about the consumers. I've been in publishing for 6 months. I came from a very different background. I came from originally a research background that was working with FMCG companies, with kind of all the big brands. But I wanted something different. So I looked in the job market, looked for a bit of a challenge, and publishing came up, which looked brilliant. The research programs are entirely different. So all the big brands, people know them. People know the likes of Brommersma nationwide. They're recognisable household names, whereas publishers aren't. So you've even got that initial challenge right there, that people just aren't kind of recognising the likes of Hodder or Pan Macmillan. So you don't have that relationship you're building. It's all through your authors and all through your books. So that's kind of one of the biggest differences, one of the biggest challenges, that you've kind of eliminated half of your potential kind of focus with consumers just through how the business and the industry is. I work really closely with a lot of the different departments in Hachette, particularly the editorial teams, so telling them who the consumers are, who they're trying to target, who are the kind of core audience for all the different authors, but also the marketing and publicity teams as well. So what are consumers, what their media consumption, what are the different channels that they're looking at, and how can we kind of more specifically target them. The most interesting project that I've been working on so far is where we've seen an author that's kind of had declining sales, and we've kind of all got together as a complete collective team at Hachette. So all the different people that work on that account, on that author, have come together and said, right, what can we do? How can we sort this out and kind of turn around some declining sales? And that's been really interesting to see everybody come together as a real collaborative effort and try to make this author something of who he was before, basically. That's been really interesting. For me, the most important skill is all about communication. So firstly, I come from a completely different background, and I'm talking a completely different language. People in publishing are talking completely different language. So starting that and opening the communication channels was really important. But I also deal with numbers and figures all the time. And that's not what people in publishing are used to. So I've got to take all these numbers and turn them into facts and something meaningful for them. So just making sure that I can translate that to them, make it actionable and that they can use, is really important. If I could change one thing about my job, at the moment it's probably writing fewer emails. Going into publishing, I'm really conscious of my emails now, and if someone is going to spot bad spelling or grammar. But aside from that, I probably wouldn't change anything. I think it's a really interesting time for me at my job right now. We're setting up a brand new research program that's kind of really challenging people to start thinking in a new way and bringing the consumer right to the heart of things. And at the moment, that's really exciting. The culture of the publishing industry, I think, is actually really good. I come from a really different background, from a research background, where people work within a team and they just work on one project and they see it through from start to finish. Whereas coming into publishing, it's a real team effort. Everybody comes together to work on one project and see it from start to finish. And there's also a real passion about what people are doing and what they're working towards. And it just makes, I personally think that the culture is brilliant, and especially having that contrast to what I've seen before. At Hachette at the moment, I probably do 80% in-house, 20% externally, but I've got research people that I go to outside to run the research projects. I don't have those resources in-house, so we've still got those external relationships, which work really well. It's quite different being in-house and then working directly with them to what I was used to before.